when we gaze upon the carved surface of a weathered brick from the Eastern Han Dynasty, 25 to 220 CE, now preserved in the Henan Museum, we are not just looking at stone. We are stepping across time, peering through the doorway of imagination into a world nearly 2 millennia old. This brick, darkened with age yet alive with detail, captures a breathtaking tableau, a circus-like acrobatic show in motion, chariots rolling forward, performers balancing, twisting, leaping, and defying gravity with daring grace. The figures are small, etched with economy of line, but their energy radiates outward, demanding the modern viewer's attention. On the bottom right of the carving, a rider stands proudly upon a horse, flag raised high. His body tilts slightly forward, as though leading both chariots and spectators alike into the rhythm of the spectacle. His raised standard signals not only command, but also celebration, for in Han Dynasty China, performances were as much about communal joy as they were about showcasing physical mastery. Above him, on the top right, another rider turns his torso backward while his horse gallops onward. With practiced control, he shoots an arrow behind him, a feat requiring immense precision, balance, and trust in his mount. To us this image might look like a clever stunt, but to the people of the Han court or the rural towns where such spectacles traveled, it was a moment of awe, a perfect union of martial skill and showmanship. Here, entertainment mirrored warfare, reminding audiences of both the dangers and triumphs of battle. In the center of the brick, 2 men hold a taut rope stretched between their chariots. Across this narrow line, a performer balances delicately, toes gripping the cord. Every muscle in his body must be alert, his posture poised as if he were walking on air. Just above him, another acrobat hangs upside down from a pole, arms outstretched like branches of a tree. In each hand, he holds a smaller performer or perhaps symbolic objects, making his suspended pose an impossible balance of weight, strength, and elegance. It is an image of danger transmuted into beauty, of human limits expanded into spectacle. What astonishes us most today is not only the performance itself, but the fact that nearly 1,800 years ago, someone thought it important enough to immortalize in fired clay. Unlike fleeting gestures of dance or sound, this carving has survived centuries of burial, unearthed only to remind us that human beings, across all eras, have loved both skill and spectacle. The cultural stage, entertainment in the Eastern Han. To fully appreciate this artifact, we must step into the cultural world of the Eastern Han. Entertainment was not peripheral in Chinese society. It was woven into the fabric of both ritual and leisure. From elaborate court performances commissioned by emperors to public fairs and festivals where entertainers roamed, the art of spectacle carried political, spiritual, and social meaning. Acrobatics, in particular, held a special place in Han culture. Known broadly as Bagsi, meaning 100 entertainments, these performances included rope walking, tumbling, juggling, animal shows, wrestling, and martial displays. Some accounts describe performers vaulting between galloping horses, spinning atop poles, and balancing in ways that tested the limits of human agility. These were not minor amusements, they were grand displays, often tied to festivals celebrating the harvest, imperial birthdays, or victories in war. What we see on this brick is more than just an artistic record of a performance. It is a compressed narrative of Bagsi culture, condensed into stone, the flag-bearer signaling authority, the archer embodying martial valor, the rope walker dramatizing the tension between risk and grace, and the upside-down performer demonstrating supreme strength and elegance. Together, they remind us that Han entertainment was as much about displaying human mastery over chaos as it was about fun. The chariot as stage. One of the most striking aspects of this carving is that the performance takes place not on a fixed platform, but on moving chariots. These vehicles, drawn by horses, were symbols of prestige, war, and ceremony. By transforming them into mobile stages, performers heighten the danger and excitement of their acts. Imagine the rumble of wooden wheels across a packed dirt arena. Horses snort and strain against their harnesses. The crowd leans forward, gasping as an acrobat steps onto the taut rope. Each sway of the chariot, each bump of the road threatens disaster. And yet, the performer moves lightly, as if he carries not fear, but the applause of his audience in every step. This clever transformation of the chariot into a stage also reflects Han values: mobility, adaptability, and the fusion of military and artistic skill. A chariot was never just transportation. It was an emblem of power. By using it as a moving theater, the performers demonstrated mastery over both the natural and the mechanical world. Symbolism and meaning. Why carve such a scene into brick? Scholars have long debated the symbolic purposes of such decorative pieces. Some suggest that they served primarily as tomb art, decorating burial chambers in order to bring joy and prestige to the afterlife. Others believe that they were placed in public or private buildings as reminders of cultural sophistication. If this brick was indeed part of a tomb, the message may have been layered. On one level, it offered entertainment for the deceased spirit. On another, it may have symbolized the qualities most admired in Han society: courage, balance, harmony, and control over danger. The archer riding backward could symbolize readiness and vigilance. The rope walker, the ability to navigate life's precarious paths. The upside-down acrobat, the inversion of ordinary limits, suggesting transcendence. The artist's hand, while the performers draw our attention, it is worth pausing to admire the craftsmanship of the carver. The figures are not naturalistic in a modern sense, but stylized, their gestures exaggerated to communicate clearly. The horses rear forward with powerful simplicity. The acrobats are reduced to clear outlines that emphasize movement rather than anatomy. The border around the scene creates a frame, reminding us that this is not a chaotic sketch, but a carefully designed composition. Though the carving is small, the artist achieved something remarkable: the sense of motion. Even today, when our eyes trace the lines, we feel the chariots rushing forward, the rope trembling under a dancer's weight, the tension of a bowstring drawn tight. It is a snapshot of an ancient performance, but one that refuses to remain still. The thrill of danger. What makes this brick resonate with us is the same element that drew ancient audiences: danger. Human beings are irresistibly drawn to the sight of risk mastered, whether it be a tightrope walker in a circus tent, a gymnast flipping on the balance beam, or a martial artist breaking boards with bare hands. The Han audience was no different. The carving does not depict dancers in quiet elegance. It shows performers testing the edge of survival. To hang upside down, holding others in balance, or to walk a rope stretched between two rumbling chariots, was to flirt with disaster. The thrill lay in watching someone survive what looked impossible. And in that survival was inspiration, proof that human beings could conquer fear, chaos, and uncertainty. A brick as time machine today, the brick rests quietly in the Han Museum, far from the roaring crowds that once inspired it. Its surface may seem humble compared to grand bronzes or shimmering jade, but in its imagery lies a treasure: the laughter, gasps, and applause of an audience 1,800 years gone. To stand before it is to feel the hum of time collapse, to realize that the desire for spectacle, the admiration of daring, and the love of artistry are eternal threads binding past to present. The performers carved here did not know they would live on in stone. They likely traveled from city to city, practicing their skills until their bodies ached, risking injury for applause and coin. Yet their fleeting moments of balance, leaps, and feats have been caught forever in clay, so that today, thousands of years later, we can still marvel at their courage. Legacy and reflection. The Han Dynasty valued record-keeping, artistry, and commemoration. This brick demonstrates all three. It reminds us that while empires rise and fall, while dynasties flourish and crumble, the human love for performance never dies. From Roman gladiators to Chinese rope walkers, from medieval jesters to modern circus performers, we continue to celebrate the union of skill and spectacle. For modern visitors to the Han Museum, the brick is both art and mirror. It invites us to compare the acrobats of old with today's athletes, dancers, and entertainers. It urges us to think about why we still thrill at danger, why we still cheer at impossible feats, and why the stage, whether a dirt arena, a carved stone, or a modern stadium, remains central to human culture. Conclusion: meeting the brick face to face. To encounter this brick in person is to encounter not just a fragment of clay, but a living performance fossilized in time. The rider with the flag, the archer shooting backward, the rope walker teetering between two chariots, and the acrobat hanging upside down, they are all still performing, still holding their audience, still commanding applause nearly 2 millennia later.